Hey, what's going on, guys? Indie Pride here with Milk and Cookies Total War, bringing you another first-person replay commentary for Rome 2. My opponent today is going to be Sad Clown. His YouTube channel will be in the description below. But what I wanted to showcase in this replay is the importance of keeping your army consolidated and very compact and cohesive against cavalry factions like Parthia or the Masagatai. Let's talk about my army setup real quick, and then we'll go over Carthage and just talk about the matchup a little bit. So, my army setup is 1 Camel Spearman, 2 Noble Blood Cav, 4 Royal Cataphracts, 4 Parthian Swordsmen, a Hillman, and 3 Eastern Javelin Men. Typically, you're not going to see this setup too often when you're playing against Parthia. The 4 Royal Cataphracts is very obvious. It's going to pretty much always happen when you're playing against Parthia, but obviously bringing a lot of cav as Parthia is a very good thing. You often won't see the Parthian Swordsmen that much. I do think they're very good for a Parthian rush build, but more typically I think you'll see the skirmish side of things with some bow cavalry and some slingers. I decided not to opt for that route this game. I just wanted to rush, and so that's what I did. So my opponent, Sad Clown, is bringing Carthage, and I actually think he has a army composition that matches up really well versus mine. So he has, I believe, 5 or 6 African pikemen, 4 mercenary Balearic slingers, some Carthaginian cav and noble cavalry, a mercenary Numidian cav, which is javelin cavalry general, and he does not have any elephants, but he does have 2 Carthaginian hoplites in the back there. So his army is very focused on spears, hoplites, and pikes, which a rush army for Parthia can definitely have some trouble with. Normally, if I was bringing like a skirmish build, I feel like I'd be okay because I'd be able to maybe skirmish down these African pikemen a little bit before I went into a melee combat, but that's not really going to happen this game because I only have the 3 javelin men, and they obviously do not outrange the 4 mercenary Balearic slingers. So what I was saying was it's very important to keep a consolidated, cohesive army composition against Parthia, and the reason for that is, as a Parthian player, what you're going to be trying to do is spread your opponent out all over the field and break his army down into chunks, surround those chunks, get those off the field, and then go on to the next target. I can't do that to my opponent if he decides to stay very compact, because what it means is his pikes will be very close to the rest of his units. He'll keep his slingers protected. He needs to keep his cavalry close to his army, and if he does that, it makes it very hard for my cavalry to have any openings, because if I send them into a melee combat, he will be able to reinforce his cavalry or his slingers with more of his infantry. So let's get into this replay right here. Like I said, very, very important, especially as Carthage, who does not have very good cavalry, to keep his cav very close to his spears. If he can reinforce his cavalry with spears, he's going to be in very good shape and he can deal with my Cataphracts. One-on-one, far away from the infantry engagement, there's no way in hell any of his cavalry is going to be able to survive against Royal Cataphracts. So keeping that army composition cohesive, keeping it very close together, is his best bet. So the way I'm going to try to deal with this is I'm going to run in and try to get his pikes facing multiple directions. The easiest way to do that is to pretend like you're going to attack from the front, and then flank around, try to get them in multiple positions, and then spread out very quickly. And just basically keep moving your infantry in multiple directions, get his pikes facing multiple directions, and it might leave some room for some micro mistakes and allow you to hit his army from multiple sides. So I am surrounding him here, and what I've noticed is that his pikes are not really facing me. He's going to have to keep trying to reposition them, and it's going to give my javelins time to start firing in and do a lot of damage, really. One mistake he's going to make here is he's going to turn his flank with these pikes, and that means that the javelin volleys are going to do a lot of damage. They're hitting him in the side and the rear where the shields can't protect them, and that means that they're going to be taking a lot of losses, and look at that, they're already down to half strength after only a couple of volleys. When that happens, when I shifted over to this side, he's kind of exposed himself here. His slingers are open to attack, his cavalry is open to attack. He should not be taking this cavalry engagement, period. The reason for that, again, is because Parthia, on an open field, one-on-one versus Carthage, is going to destroy them in a cavalry fight. With these Camel Spearmen and the Fear Aura they inspire against enemy cav, that's going to make it very easy for me to win a cav fight. So, he tried chasing my infantry here, and pikes are very defensive. They are not an aggressive unit at all. You cannot run around the map with them very easily. So, a mistake here that he's going to make is he's going to chase after all of my swordsmen. I don't want to take an infantry fight yet. There's no reason to. I've noticed that I'm able to take a cav fight. It's a cav fight that's on my terms, which means I can take out this cavalry pretty easily one-on-one in melee. And as long as his pikes and hoplites aren't there to back him up, he's going to have a really hard time winning this fight. And I'm going to get to break down his army into chunks, take his cavalry off the field, and then focus on the infantry later. So that's the big issue for him. All of his infantry is far away from his cavalry, and he's left his slingers exposed. That means that I can just come in and take out this cavalry piecemeal, and then focus on whatever target I want to, basically. So yeah, at this point, he's in trouble. Just not even looking at the balance bar or any other thing. I've taken some of his cav off the field. I haven't taken very many losses. All I did was lose like a hillman right here. And all of his infantry is very far away. So, big mistake chasing down Parthian swordsman here. He's playing completely into my hands at this point. He's doing exactly what I want him to do. So, I am going to be able to come in from behind and get a rear charge off with these royal cataphracts. It's going to be devastating against slingers for obvious reasons. And I'm going to be able to run through those and take those slingers off the field. And another rear charge off here with these royal cataphracts into the back of the noble cavalry. And yet another cavalry unit is going to get taken off the field. So looking at everything that's happened so far, I've managed to take his cavalry off the field. I've taken down a bunch of his slingers, which were very essential to his army composition. And I'm still running away with my infantry units because there's no reason for me to engage at this point. Yeah, like the way he's using pikes here, I just don't think is the way you really want to use them. They're very defensive. I think if he had kept them close to his slingers, and that was the biggest thing. I really think that keeping the slingers alive was the biggest thing, because against Parthia, being able to skirmish down their lightly armored units is a pretty big deal. Now, he didn't know that I wasn't going to be bringing any cavalry, archer cavalry, which people usually do bring as Parthia, and slingers counter archer cav very, very well. But regardless, with those slingers, he should have been able to take out my javelins very easily. The thing was that he just kind of got really spread out, and it allowed me to come in and take out his cavalry. And once your cavalry and mobility is gone, the only option you have left as a faction like Carthage, particularly with his army setup, is to box up. And at this point, I wouldn't have even blamed him if he boxed up. Like, I really feel like that's the only way he could have won this game at this point, is by getting his pikes into a box and just kind of daring me to attack him. The thing is, though, I still have 4 Parthian swordsman units, which means that I can actually kind of break down boxes relatively easily as well. But he's still chasing me. Not the best idea. And I'm just going to try to clear off the rest of these Balearic slingers. And he's going, I mean, he's obviously definitely already overextended, but soon I'm going to actually be able to engage here because his African pikemen are very spread out, which means that they're not quite as effective when attacking from the front. And if I can gang up on like 1 pike unit at the same time with 2 Parthian swordsmen, should be able to clear that out very easily. Just going to pull away from those hoplites out there in the back. And soon here I think I'm going to start breaking down these pikes with the swordsmen, because I realize that I don't even need the cavalry necessarily to kill the rest of these pike units. So yeah, he's not really in a line here. It's one line, or he's just in like a single line here, so this is going to be very easy to kill with sword units. Pretty soon here, I'm going to decide to engage, just turn around, and they're not even going to get time to drop down their pikes, really. Considering they're already at half strength, going to be able to cut through them very easily. So that's 1 pike unit off the field, and then I'm going to pull out a little bit and just move on to the next one. And just keep doing that to all of his pikes. I did manage to get my Eastern Javelin men around the flank and then come in from behind. They were chasing me, but because they're faster than the pike units, I was just able to pull them out. And they have a little bit more ammo left, so gotta get some more volleys off. And I think at this point he said, just screw it, forget the pikes. I'm just gonna try to run after you without the pikes on. Hopefully I'll be able to catch you, because yeah, if he was able to catch these Javelin men, of course they would die. But I'm gonna do my best not to let that happen. I do think I'll run out of ammo with one of these Javelin men soon, so I'm going to commit them to melee relatively soon. But finally, I have some of my cavalry coming back. They're extremely tired now, so you can see how slow they're moving. They're running basically as fast as infantry units because they're exhausted. And most of these pike units are off the field now, so he only has hoplites and 2 more pike units left. So yeah, I think I'm about to, yeah, these guys are going to get committed into melee. Of course, they're going to get destroyed. Kind of feel bad for them because, oh god, I just some friendly fire right there. Kind of feel bad for them because they did a lot of damage for me, and then I'm just going to kind of throw them into a melee engagement. They have no hope of winning, but such is life. Poor guys. And commit this Parthian swordsman and the rest of my cav. Rear charge off without these pikes. Getting their pikes down should be a relatively easy fight for me. Run them down. That unit's going to be off the field, and then again, one of my other javelin men ran out of ammo, so I'm going to commit them into melee. And we might even be able to get to see the expert charge defense here in action, see some of those unique animations from the hoplites. Hopefully I'll be able to catch a couple of those. Put it into slow-mo real quick. Yep. Oh god, that was beautiful. I don't get to see that very often. That's like the one animation I don't get to see very often, so I'm glad I caught that. It looked really good. So the javelin men are going to die, but I believe I have some cavalry coming in from the flank here as well. And this fight's going to be over. Just get some more slow-mo close-ups before this replay ends. And I just keep shooting myself in the back here. This is brutal. So yeah, they're going to rout. And I'm going to clean that one up. So, a couple mistakes that Sad Clown made there. I think the biggest one was, again, not keeping his army cohesive. If you don't have the cavalry advantage, you cannot afford to send your cavalry far away from your infantry. I think his army composition was really well suited to fighting mine. If he played defensive, skirmished effectively with his slingers, made sure they didn't get caught, and then kept his cavalry close to his spears, where I wouldn't be able to engage them one-on-one in a cavalry fight without them getting backed up by pikes or spears, would have made it very difficult for me to win that fight, I think. Instead, he spread out, allowed his army to get broken down into chunks, and that made it very difficult for him to win. So, hope you guys enjoyed that. Did play 2 more games with Sad Clown, and the second and third game were actually extremely close. So, I hope you guys look forward to me bringing that to you, and I'll talk to you all later. Hopefully this gave you a little bit of knowledge on the matchup between Parthia and Carthage and how to counter each faction. See you guys later.